Hey guys, welcome again to the round table. Today we are here to talk about some life issues, and I'm here with a friend of mine, Francis. We want specifically to talk about justice, whether there is a form of justice, whether there is a superior being which somehow conveys justice to the people who do wrong. To make the conversation deeper, we are trying to rely on the philosophy of Mint, where he talks about justice or a form of happiness. The highest form of happiness is the kind of justice that he upholds. For example, despite your personal interest, if you do an action that somehow interferes with the interest of other people, then that is not a form of justice. So we are going to dig deeper into the conversation with Frank, and to make it even more interesting, he does not know about the subject prior to the discussion. So maybe he can introduce himself and we shall get started.
Thank you for the invitation, rather for coming. I think I don't know about the topic, but I'm ready to go through. Can get started.
Okay, so the first question, do you believe there is a superior being out there who will give justice or a form of punishment to people who go wrong?
Do you mean God?
I won't say God in that manner. I'm just saying as superior beings, and whether or not you believe there is maybe God in your terms, or I don't know.
I don't really believe in that. I don't really believe there is anyone that punishes. I think evil will always attract some form of punishment in one way or the other. I think when you do something wrong right now, your mind will keep following it, and at some point you will trip because of it.
Yeah, but there are some people who are really good at it. You can think of politicians who, day by day, they steal public funds. You can think of serial killers who commit homicide every now and then. So if these people have mastered their craft, and for some reasons they cannot feel that sense of guilt that you're trying to repair, what happens to such kind of?
I think that even explains your point, because there are people who die thieves, so they were never punished.
So
there are people who die criminals without going to jail or without facing any form of punishment.
So in short, you're saying this kind of people go scot free without any form of judgment,
because there is no any form of being observing or in charge of punishing.
Yeah, that's pretty much interesting. Let's assume now someone kills 100 people, or in the case of Adolf Hitler, he killed over 6 million Jews. Even if he dies, if we are measuring a form of punishment, we are trying to see that his death is only a replacement of one person who he killed. What then could become of the 505 million and so who are remaining? Because one life is equal to one. How can you attest for that, or how can you account for that?
That's probably because his death was never a punishment to whatever he did. It's just life.
So you are saying
his death was not. It cannot measure.
Let's drift back to a more serious forms of punishment that are existing currently. I am quite aware we have the legal system, but we understand that if you have enough money, you can buy the legal system. We go now to the subconscious that you referred to. When someone commits a crime, they will try to torment themselves internally. But of course, you've also recognized that some people are beyond any sense of guilt. And therefore, we're trying to see the only option that remains is a supreme being that therefore takes care of these two people who have gone beyond the legal justice, or they're beyond their subconsciousness. So at least there's some sense of accountability. How can you comment on these three forms of justice in your own space?
I don't know. I don't think there's any level that you get so that you assume that now your crime equals punishment from some other dimension.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's no level of looting over politicians that will qualify them from courts to now facing God, for instance. You will find someone like Mugabe. That guy has looted to death.
Okay.
The politicians he has looted to death, and I'm assuming if there was any form of being that punishes people, and in this case politicians, then Mugabe was not supposed to die at that age. Maybe he should have been punished earlier on.
So I'm asking who is responsible for the punishment?
There is no form of punishment.
If we think in that line, therefore, what becomes of the world? I mean, if now people discovers your theory, for example,
yes,
and they start living anyhow, they start killing left, right, and center. How do you foresee a world like that in your own perspective?
Well, I will agree with you that it helps to bring order in the world somehow. That's actually the main purpose of religion. There's so much that people do not engage in simply because they have the hope and they desire to see heaven. Some, they don't even desire, they just fear missing out.
So if you are given a chance to choose between these three levels of punishment,
yeah,
the legal department, the subconscious, and the supreme being, which one would you go for?
I think I will go with the subconscious.
Okay.
Because I believe it helps people remain humans. I think we can choose to not believe in anything. We can choose to not follow laws, but as long as we have chosen to be good humans, I think that's everything.
Well, that's somehow an interesting insight from Frank. Personally, I would say we have these three forms of legal systems. Of course, the legal department, as we have seen, it's corrupt. There's nothing much you can do about it. We have the subconscious, which works pretty well, by the way, and especially to noble people who do wrong, it somehow haunts them to an extent where they now start having psychological problems and all that. And then now, if people are surpassed all these forms of punishment, then I still believe there is a supreme being, whether it is God, whether it is Jesus, whether it is any form of being that is somehow will hold people accountable for their wrongs in the world. So I think that is my view, and in the next episode we shall try to explore more about justice.